Breaker Crunchers, welcome to an exciting new episode of Couch Crunchers. I've got two guests with me. These are men that have stolen the key to the lock that is my heart. Tonight we've got... That was good, right?
That was really good.
Sure. Guys, introduce yourselves for those who haven't met you before.
All right, I'm Sam, the movie mechanic tonight, signing in as the Keymaster.
Nice. I'm just Max, signing in the same way I always do anymore. I'm the gamer guy.
I'm the gamer guy. And I am Lance. I like to do lists, apparently. Tonight we have a very fun episode planned where you're going to do some Fab or Flub. We're going to talk about Netflix's new show, Locke and Key, which we all enjoyed thoroughly, I think. But we'll get into that. But first, we're going to talk about Fab or Flub. So let's get to our first headline, and the show notes just vanished from my screen here. There we go. All right, so Max, you're going to have to help me out with this because I have no idea what this means. So the new Star Wars movie, the new Star Wars movie is set on Exegol. Did I say that right?
Yeah, it's I'm pretty sure rumor at this point that there's going to be a new Star Wars movie, and it's going to be set on Exegol. So that's like the Sith planet from Rise of Skywalker. And this is the stupidest.
Oh, the
thing
one with all the
heard.
one with all the ships at the no
at the end.
Rise of Skywalker was the last one, right? So that's where Palpatine is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This is if this is true, Disney has lost their marbles. Kathleen Kennedy, I already think should be fired, but she should be fired again for this. If this is true, this is stupid. I don't want a movie on Exegol. Like I'm down for like a live action TV show that gives me an episode on Exegol and gives me some backstory on the Sith, but I don't want a whole freaking movie on that. I'm good. Don't do that, please.
Would
that be? Go ahead, Sam.
I'm with you, Max. It seems like a misfire. This is like too little, too late. If you wanted to explain Exegol, you should have done that in Rise of Skywalker or Last Jedi. Those were good times to talk about Exegol. A whole movie set on Exegol. Is this going to be like the movie version of Kylo Ren Undercover Boss? Is that what it's going to be? because that's the only way a movie on Exegol makes sense. Is you've got a bunch of people who are laborers. They're just trying to get the job done. And they keep having their boss come down and blow things up and slice things with a lightsaber. So I don't understand why we're moving to Exegol. Where's the drama? Where's the tension? What's going on there? It just seems like it's a massive shipbuilding fleet, and they're all pretty much of the same mind. So where's the drive?
Oh, we have a guest. Look
what
who
happened?
Decided to join us.
Wait, what?
Matt.
Who sent this guy the link?
Matt, unlike other... Yeah, I'm looking at the YouTube feed, and it doesn't look too great. So,
all right, last time Matt and I were on with Lance, Matt mentioned that if Lance's feed gets any worse, he'll be looking like scrambled porn.
Dude, I'm calling CenturyLink on Monday because this is awful. I've been dealing with internet issues for the last 2 hours, and it's just been ridiculous. But thanks for joining us, Matt.
Yeah, I can give you a little bit of my time. I probably can't stay for the entire podcast, but I can bail you out a little bit.
Well, if I start doing the robot or something, just let me know. I'll kick myself out and try to come back. So, but we were just talking about Star Wars. Matt,
great.
The movie set in Exegol. I know this is Matt's favorite subject, Star Wars.
I felt weird yesterday. I was on their show, and he brought up Star Wars, and I was like, am I allowed to talk about this? Because this is like PTSD for Matt. But he asked, so I talked about it.
Well, what did you guys talk about last night?
If you
Star
watched
Wars.
the show, you'd find out.
Yeah.
I plan on listening on Monday.
We talked about a lot of stuff. It was a good time. It was a good time. We talked about this really cool McDonald's scented candle, quarter pounder candle. So, and how it might be a good idea so that when I take a dump, my wife doesn't have to smell my poop. She can smell a quarter pounder instead.
So McDonald's is
I
trying.
still don't know if you want to have those two correlate with each other because, like, you walk into McDonald's and she's gonna be like, "Oh God,
Yeah, you're
We don't go anyway.
You're just swapping one flavor of beef for another.
I mean, you're about to have a kid, so there's gonna be many a Happy Meals in your future."
That's
and
true. That's true. We don't really
she
go. That
walks into
often
a
now.
McDonald's and she's gonna be like, "Oh
So-
God," and she's gonna vomit in her mouth.
So McDonald's is trying to use more than just food to make you fat, apparently. So now they want to get through your nose as well.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, if they get you to eat a candle, you've got a problem.
Yeah,
You probably got more problems than.
You have a serious McDonald's problem if you're
Yeah.
eating candles.
yeah. Do you have a new mic, Sam?
I don't think so.
Okay, you just sound different than usual.
His internet, or Lance's internet issues are spreading like HPV.
That's what I'm wondering. Lance's internet has the coronavirus.
But I don't even drink.
What does that have to do with coronavirus?
Yeah, right.
I thought drinking
Corona
cured.
beers. Corona beers.
Oh, okay.
No, nobody got that. Just me.
Oh, I got it. It's just it was lame.
All right. Well,
I'm instantly regretting trying to bail you out after the.
Okay, let's move on. Let's move on from Exegol.
more Star Wars. Harrison Ford doesn't know what a Force ghost is, and he does not care.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about this as well. My thoughts are just like, I really don't care. It's just a job to him. Whatever. I don't know. Like he gave me a great a great Han Solo. That's all I needed from the guy. If he doesn't know what a Force ghost is, he doesn't know what Kryptonite versus Carbonite is. I don't give a rat's.
He just
You
works here.
Did he actually say that? He didn't know the difference between Kryptonite and Carbonite?
Yeah.
He was doing an interview, and the interviewer was talking about how the line when he tells Carrie Fisher's Princess Leia, when she says "I love you," and he says "I know" in Empire, that's like the greatest line in cinematic history. And he was like, "Yeah," and he was like, "How did that come about? Was it did you improvise it? Was it scripted?" And he was like, "The first line they gave me was lame," and he's like, "I felt like Han Solo was supposed to be this big hero, so he needed to have a heroic, dramatic line, and they were about to encase her in kryptonite." And the guy was like, "You mean carbonite?" He's like, "Kryptonite, carbonite, who cares? I just work here."
In true Harrison Ford fashion.
Yeah,
I know, right? It's like he is Han Solo. It's like, I don't care. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to get a paycheck. Yeah.
All right. Next subject. Disney working on a live action Tangled, which is essentially Rapunzel, which I think has been done before, times many. But would this
In live
be something
action,
you guys-
though, I don't know if they've done it live action. I love this
Rapunzel-
idea.
The
I
story
like
of Rapunzel
Tangled.
was literally done on Once Upon a Time.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure was this a TV show or a movie? I can't remember.
That
what
was
it
a TV
supposed
show.
to be.
There's been movies about Rapunzel. Rapunzel is one of the oldest stories in like folklore or whatever you would call it.
Yeah, but the whole Flint Rider thing, that's new from Tangled. So I don't know. I'd be down. I think the world they built in Tangled is really cool. I'd like to see more of it. There's always the
If it's not-
age-old.
If it's not Zachary Levi, I don't care.
It could be. You could bring in
Yes.
Mandy Moore and Zachary Levi. They wouldn't look like teenagers, though.
That's true.
Yeah.
Mandy
All right,
Moore
so no one has
still
any-
got it?
Mandy Moore's hot, dude.
I know. If you don't
Yeah.
watch This Is Us, you should. She looks good as an old lady.
I got to tell you that this is a fun idea. I'm anxious to see how they handle 200 feet of hair. They in the cartoon of Tangled, there's no set like length. Like her hair changes length throughout the show.
Oh, yeah, it does.
It's just whatever length it needs to be in order to make the scene work.
Yeah, it's always long, but
Oh,
it's
check it out. Lance is going full pixelated porn.
oh boy.
I can't tell if those are eyebrows or not.
Does it still look bad? Can you guys still hear me?
You look like you're in witness protection.
Oh man, you got a unibrow now.
You witnessed like you look like you witnessed a murder, and you're about to narc, and they're protecting your identity.
I just got to get the sound regulator on you. And my name is Lance Pepperoni.
Should be on Vice News about the leader of the world's biggest pop counterfeit ring, and they're blurring your face.
All right. So oh my gosh.
Just
man.
keep smiling, Lance. You're selling it hard.
Also, what happened to your beard, dude? What happened to all that facial hair?
I had a job interview, and facial hair. Yeah, I didn't take it though. But I had a job interview. I was trying to clean up a little bit and shaved it off, and immediately regretted it. At least I got a little bit of stubble now. Before I had no hair, and I just looked like. Have you ever seen where somebody draws like a happy face on their thumb? That was me. Yeah. This thing here adds a little bit of facial definition. So
I don't know what you're
not a look
talking
I'll be
about.
going
I
after
literally
again.
only see fuzz.
Maybe that's what happened. Maybe that's why you got in a car accident, because the guy was just like, "Holy crap, it's a human thumb," and he just couldn't stop staring.
Yeah, you have
Guys,
to tell us about the car accident, Lance.
I'm so depressed about that, dude. They might total my brand new car.
If
I'm
they total
bummed.
it, you can still keep it, right?
Yeah, but I'd have to pay. Like, I probably use the money to get it all fixed, but the money they give me, I have to use it to pay off my loan. So
Just buy a new car.
If they total it, I'll just go find another one like it, you know. But it sucks. It bums me out. I had to go to like 4 or 5 different dealerships to look for that car because I wanted a specific model, the diesel Volkswagen Passat. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Bums me out.
Yeah, sorry
Well,
about that, dude.
sounds like it was a bad one too, because like you were saying, the guy hit you and freaking hit you so hard that you went 6 feet and hit the person in front of you.
Yeah,
Like that's
there was a
that's
big gap.
crazy.
Like
So-
I replaying it through my head, I think that the gap in between the car and my car and the one in front of me, you could have almost fit another car in that gap. Like,
So did they give you a
if I-
ticket
if
for
I
that?
remember- No, I did not get a ticket.
That's good, because I know sometimes they'll give you
Yep.
a ticket even for that kind of crap. That's
No,
good.
the guy behind me got cited. I did not, because we were at a dead stop. I wasn't moving. The guy in front of me wasn't moving. Like, we were just sitting there waiting for traffic to move, and this guy just came barreling. I'm pretty sure he was on his cell phone. But then
I'm
he
thinking
gets out
that
of the
he
car.
was in shock that you passed him. And he was like, "That's a thumb driving a car." He was like,
Look, Ma, a thumb.
"Yeah, he didn't know."
He was taking pictures. That's what he was trying to
He
do.
was trying to put it on the Instagram stories and didn't react quick enough.
Oh man. So
Knowing you, man, I'm
yeah,
surprised you didn't get out of the car and get a domestic abuse charge on you.
the first thing
Domestic abuse.
I'm not
Not
there.
domestic
relationship. They're in a secret relationship. It just started 5 seconds after the crash happened. Now they're in a relationship and it's domestic abuse.
Well, let our attorney tell me what term I should have used.
Who was the man and who was the woman in that
Battery?
situation?
Assault and battery.
Road
Assault
rage.
battery.
Road rage.
Road rage.
yeah.
No, so immediately I'm amazed because
Domestic abuse.
normally
Lance just puts
my
on a
temper-
wig and he just slaps the shit.
Hassa, hit me again.
Yeah.
So normally I have a temper. I know that about myself. I was actually kind of shocked that I didn't get out of the car and beat his ass. I think more so because when I got out of the car and I saw the extent of damage on his car, my immediate response was, I need to go check and see if this dude's okay. You know what I mean? Like, accidents happen.
That's the good
In
thing
the
to do.
moment, Yeah, in the moment, it looked like there wasn't a lot of damage in my car, but I took it to the dealership and they said the floorboards in the back of my car, so like if you sat in the back seat, the floorboards right there were dented in. Like, so he came so far under my car, like under and up practically. So all the floorboards are dented up. And I don't know how I didn't notice that. So I wouldn't be surprised if like my frame's bent, my axle's probably cracked. You know, I drove it for maybe 10 miles after that. And when I took it to the dealership, they pulled away and stuff was falling off the car. Like my whole wheel well, like the interior wheel well fell out off of the car.
Wow, dude. It's crazy. Sometimes you don't think there's a lot of damage, and there is. Like my wife, about 2 years ago almost now, when we first moved to Colorado, it's really hilly here, and then the roads get icy, and she's going down this road that's really steep. She's trying to brake and then turn left, and the car skids, and she isn't able to stop it all the way, and she ran into like a curb. Shouldn't have been a huge deal. She probably hit it going 10 miles an hour. But it was like enough that it like broke the entire axle off. It was like $2,000 or $3,000 worth of repairs. I mean, luckily it was insurance covered it other than our deductible. But it's crazy what'll happen.
Yeah.
Even just what seems like a small amount of damage, and it's like astronomical in price.
I'm amazed I'm not more hurt than I actually am. Like my back is all tweaked, my neck's a little tweaked, but it could have been so much worse. Like judging by the damage on that guy's car.
Classic case of insurance whiplash.
There you go.
I know, right?
Dude, I ever tell you guys? Go ahead.
I mean, hitting the car in front of me, it was, you know, the car in front of me, I think, is what did the most damage. So him hitting me and then immediately getting stopped and rocking back just killed it. But what were you saying here?
Well, I was just the joke Matt made reminded me of Lance knows this story, but I'm sure you guys don't. When I got married, I took the weekend off, and then I went back to work on like a Tuesday. On my Tuesday drive back in, I rear-ended the Mesa City Chief of Police.
No way.
Yep.
That is awesome, dude. And he then came after me I guess a year later. I didn't know it until I was like going into the records office to like get a new copy of my marriage certificate. And I found out this guy tried to sue me, but my insurance stopped it or whatever, because I hit him going like 5 miles an hour, and he like went to the hospital and tried to say that I messed up his back and stuff. And maybe I did, I don't know, but it's just kind of, your story reminded me like how you got hit and it like whiplashed you back and all that. So. Yeah. Well, look how crazy this is, dude. This guy hit me so hard that the emblem from the front of his car is stamped in my bumper. Like it hit me so hard that's like a dust imprint in my bumper.
Oh, wow.
You know, that's a Honda logo right there. But this tailpipe right here is supposed to stick straight out here. You can see the bracket to where the tailpipe is normally held, and it's completely bent all the way back there. All this is bent. All these brackets are bent. So he basically came up and under right here.
Yeah, that's a good point. When I was looking at these images originally, when you posted up on Facebook, I didn't think anything of it. Okay. I don't know if you guys can see the same thing as me. That little Honda logo looks like a frowny face.
Yeah.
It totally looks like you got a frowny face stamped on your car.
But could you imagine how hard he has to hit me for that little piece of plastic to like make like an imprint like that? That's crazy.
Not very hard. Wash your car.
My car just got washed 2 days before this.
I'd say that same thing too.
The real question, Lance, is what about your decals? What about your window decals?
Window.
Well,
your window decals.
I made all my decals except for one. The one that I'll be really heartbroken if I can't replace it is my Wild Bill soda sticker that's on the back of my car.
The good stuff.
Yeah. But everything else I made myself. Let's see.
Is that what we get emails from all the time, Lance?
What?
I noticed. I get Wild Bill. That's it. I get Wild Bill emails on our info@couchcrunchers.com email all the freaking time. Now I'm understanding why. It's because you must have signed up for them when you ordered your
See, if I was a cop right off the bat,
No.
I'm citing you for that giant couch
disturbing the
cruncher
peace.
sticker obstructing your vision to look behind you at someone coming, as well as the Pops one. I mean, right there, that's just a classic case of you should be cited because obstruction of view.
Fuck you, dude.
You can't think of anything to say, so you just tell them to F off.
Let's go. I can't.
I bet you the cop was like, "Ooh, couch crunchers. Are you sure he didn't just do you a favor?"
Dude, you guys should have seen it. I totally straight up triggered Sam earlier this week without meaning to. Lance texted all of us saying that he got in an accident and that he needed an attorney. And so I jokingly replied back saying, Turner and Rowe. It's the way to go, you know? And Sam texted me privately saying, don't. Or something like that.
Well, first off, is Lerner and Rowe.
Oh, is it Lerner?
You're mixing up Lerner and Rowe and Turner and Hooch.
Oh, you're right. That's funny.
Oh, man.
And my response was gross. That's gross.
Oh, was it gross? Is that what it was? Okay, that's fair.
So I did get an attorney. Sam then after I contracted with an attorney, Sam is sending me like attorney advice. And I'm like, why didn't I call you? I thought he practiced like HOA law still. But no, like I could have just used Sam. But I'm using Gary Phillips. How do you feel about them, Sam? Gary Phillips. So they used to be Phillips and Lyon.
Yeah, I used to work with his son.
Okay.
Good, smart attorney. Yeah, you're in good hands.
Cool. Well, yeah, I wish I would have asked Sam first before I just start signing paperwork. That's a rule of thumb. Text Sam before you sign anything.
See, now you're trying to steal my idea because every time you're like, "Hey, will you guys fill this out?" I'm like, gotta show it to my attorney first.
Yeah, that's right.
You know?
Nobody signs anything unless I see it first.
So we went to, or we all registered for our WonderCon passes, right? And I was gonna read through that little terms and conditions thing that they give you, but I saved it on a Word document. I skimmed it. I saved it on a Word document so we can refer back to it. But yeah, I immediately thought, oh, I should send this to Sam just in case.
So here's the funny thing about terms and conditions and what they call click wrap terms and conditions. There was a woman who read through the terms and conditions and saw that there was a $15,000 giveaway for the first person who would respond to this particular provision in the terms and conditions. And the product had been available for like 3 or 4 years, and she answered it just on a whim. And sure enough, she was the first person to respond, and she won $15,000.
Wow.
15
That's awesome.
or 50? 50.
1-5. 15.
That's still pretty
Still a lot of money, man. That's
just for reading your terms and conditions.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna read all of them from this point forward. I want 50.
I don't think many companies do that, but that is really
that, and that's how you'll find out that because you have an Apple Watch, Apple now owns 50% of all your kids.
Apple's now,
and they can come into your house. They can come into your house and recruit any one of your kids at any time for the Apple Army.
Well, they do. They may not own 50% of your kids, but they do own 100% of your data, and that is the scary part to me.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the next thing. So I hadn't seen this. I don't know if you guys seen it, but apparently Woody Harrelson as Cletus Kasady, they're not doing the red wig now, even though he had red hair at the end of the movie.
Yeah. So if you click on that link in our notes, it has a picture, and it's not the best picture, but you can tell he's not wearing a wig. And I just thought it was nice. The wig at the end of Venom 2 was atrocious.
Yeah, he looked like Carrot Top scrotum.
It was so dumb.
Yeah, and so it might still be a wig, but
That looks a little red right there.
here,
I see a little red.
I'm gonna share it because your internet is really bad. So
The red hair would be fine if it's short, but it just doesn't need to be the curly mop that Cassidy has in the comics.
yeah, and it as you can tell, it's not super clear.
There looks to be a red hue between his forehead.
I think that's just the reflection coming off his loud shirt. That's what that is.
Yeah,
his
shirt,
loud
shirt is very bright.
Yeah,
but the hair part of it is very dark. It's very hard to tell what color it is at all. But maybe if someone adjusted the photo, maybe they were able to tease out what his hair color actually is in the photo. But it doesn't match the shirt. I think that's what you're saying, Matt.
yeah, that shirt does not scream serial killer.
Yeah, I saw another one earlier this week. I was trying to see if I could find that one, but I don't know. Oh, here's the one from Venom. Let me see if I can share this here real quick. Because the one from Venom was, in my opinion, just gross. Like that one right there. I did not like that at all. That look. Just no. I'm good. I much prefer what we're seeing so far. I know this isn't like crazy news. I just thought it was interesting that they at least got rid of the crazy wig that you saw at the end of Venom. And here we go. It's another.
I'm not even 100% sold that he's being Carnage.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You think they're gonna
Nick Cage or?
Okay, let me show this real quick. So I've adjusted the contrast on it.
Nobody can see anything in your internet, Lance.
You can't see it?
I can see it.
I can see it better. Yeah. It looks
so
red.
I've adjusted the contrast, and this looks red.
It looks red to me. I could see it on like the roots. It's definitely red. I guess what I'm just saying is it's not the nasty wig.
It's not that hairstyle. It's a different hairstyle.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder if he gets out of prison and he cuts his hair or something.
What I hear they're going to do, what's rumored is they're going to tattoo the word damaged across his forehead.
Okay. Okay. I don't know why, but 2 nights ago,
I thought it was cereal. I thought they were going to do cereal across his head.
2 nights ago, I decided on a whim to rewatch all the Joker scenes from the extended version of Suicide Squad.
Why would you do that to yourself?
After I don't know. It was like 11:30 and I wanted to go to bed at midnight, so I just was like skimming through the movie. And it's just because I just saw Birds of Prey recently, and so it was fresh in my mind. Dude, after watching the Joker movie and now seeing his version of the Joker, oh, it's so bad. His Joker is so bad.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And it's a shame too, because I think he could have done a good job. I just think that the direction and the way it was written for him to do this portrayal did not click. Because I do think Jared Leto's a really good actor.
He's a great actor.
Really good. I don't know if you've seen Dallas Buyers Club. He's really good in that, where he plays a transvestite, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But he's a really good actor, and that Joker thing is just every actor has that one blip where they'll be remembered for this bad role for the rest of their career, but it's what they do afterwards that could redeem them from it. Let's just hope Morbius is good. But
yeah, I'm hoping so. I think it will be. I don't know.
Well, yeah. Jared Leto's a method actor, so that he's been hanging out with a lot of like vampire bats and eating a lot of bat blood and really sinking his teeth into the role, so to speak.
You ever heard the jokes of Ryan Reynolds talking about being a method actor for Pikachu? And how he's like, yeah, I'd crawl around on the floor. I wouldn't pick my kids up for school. I really wanted to get into the role.
Let's talk about this because I wanted, just in case Matt has to leave us soon, I want to talk about this thing that kind of bothers me a little bit. But Matt is kind of is a big comic book reader, so I wanted to make sure we talked about this. AT&T will close DC Comics if their new 5G comic. So 5G is kind of like Rebirth, right? It's like a new iteration that they're doing, a new series or whatever.
No, so they're trying to reboot and make generations, and this will be the 5th generation, and they're trying to set it back to like make Wonder Woman the first. She would be technically the first superhero now by this regenerationing that they're trying to do, this reclassification they're trying to do, so that it would set it back to where Superman wouldn't technically be the first comic book hero. It's going to be Wonder Woman, and so that each event consists of a different generation, and they're trying to launch the 5th generation with new stories and new heroes and stuff like that.
I heard Batman was going to be black. But what's shocking is that if this doesn't do well, that's the end of DC Comics publishing company, apparently, from this headline.
Yeah, I don't trust the source it's coming from. There might be some validity
Where did this
to
come
it.
from?
So it came from Cosmic Book News, and they took it from like a DC Comics artist, I think. He has like a YouTube podcast that he does. He recently left DC Comics, and it came from him. So maybe there's some validity to it. Maybe it's just him being pissed off. I don't know. I didn't dig super duper deep into it, but I did like a Google search for this. The only site I saw reporting it was Cosmic Book News. And then their source, they linked the YouTube channel to this guy's podcast. It was a 2-hour podcast, and I found out about this article like an hour and a half ago. I didn't listen to the whole thing. But I don't know. Do you know more about the source?
There's a lot going behind it. And the big thing, the big driving force behind it is DC co-editor Dan Didio. And he was kind of the driving force behind this whole 5G thing. And he... out of nowhere, about 20 minutes before we went live last night on Absolute Geek, and that's kind of why I didn't talk about it, because I wanted to wait and see more info before we talked about it on our show. He was fired from DC. It wasn't. It's not being left to be made look amicable. It's not being left to make look like he chose to leave. It just says that he was ousted as co-editor, leaving Jim Lee to be their only editor for now, and he was kind of that big head force behind this 5G initiative. And they're saying that, you know, it's been speculated that now that this has happened, they've talked about it. I guess when AT&T, to go back, when AT&T purchased Warner Media, both of them were in huge debt, so they combined, and so they're going to still put out movies and stuff like that. But it's just like the DC publishing, they feel that comic books is a dead medium. So they're saying that comic book, the publishing division doesn't make money, so they're going to close it down. They'll retain the rights to use the characters in movie form or TV show, but they're calling it a dead form. And they're saying there's a potential now that they could sell off characters. There's a potential for Disney and Marvel to swoop in, and if they close the publishing, they could technically swoop in and buy the rights to the comic book rights to Batman and Superman and all these characters. So if DC goes under, it's going to be a huge deal, and it could very well spell the end of the comic book industry as we know it.
That's pretty scary. Scary times.
I hope that doesn't happen. You know, even I don't read a ton of comics all the time, but I don't want to see the industry go that way. I definitely don't want to see Disney owning DC Comics. I like that there's, they
wouldn't own DC
division.
Comics. They would just might own some of they could potentially buy some of the characters, right?
They would buy the rights to publish those characters. So it would be like your movies, it would still it's just like the Marvel deal. Marvel owns the rights to Spider-Man, but their movie rights are owned by Sony. Marvel could potentially have the right to buy the rights to Superman and Batman if DC wants to do that. I mean, that's a quick $1 billion get right there. Is you liquidize that asset, you close down the publishing, you sell off those rights to Marvel or somebody else who wants to swoop in and buy them, and then you start publishing Batman and Superman, and you've got two of the most popular superheroes in the world under your brand now, and you're gonna sell like hotcakes. So I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if it was like IDW or something like that.
They
already have a relationship.
I don't think IDW has enough money to do it. I honestly think Disney Marvel is the only company that would have enough money to give DC and Warner Media what they're AT&T too, what they're looking for those characters.
So when I originally read this headline, I was so confused. I was like, why would AT&T cancel DC Comics if their 5G network failed?
I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
I thought the same thing. I was like, what does this have to do with the other? I was like, are they just like, they're just going to be pissed off and cancel DC Comics because their network didn't work?
Made no sense to me.
Got to tighten those belts in lean times. Daddy's got to pay for the phone bill. Can't be buying comic books.
Right?
Mike says that he, for one, would welcome the Mouse Overlord to start making these properties.
No,
I like Disney, but I don't want them to own anything else except for Spider-Man.
I think it'd be cool. I think it'd be cool if Marvel did get the publishing rights to these characters. I think it would be awesome to have a Superman Flash comic. Like, I think those two characters have like Barry Allen and Peter Parker have such similar
Spider-Man. Okay.
Yeah. What did I say?
Superman.
Did I say Spider-Man? I meant Spider-Man. I think those two have such similar humor that I think that would be a really fun read.
But do you mean as a crossover, or you mean Spider-Man and Flash are now in the same universe?
Well, if Marvel bought their publishing rights, I mean, it would make sense that they would probably make comic books featuring both of those characters, like maybe just a new comic line.
So it says DC will be splitting its past into 4 different distinct generations. Within this generation, one is defined by the adventures of Wonder Woman as the first public superhero, which is a new thing in the terms of continuity. So they're gonna do. She would be the first public superhero. That would be Gen 1. Gen 2, second generation, would start with the appearance of Superman, and the third generation spans from Crisis on Infinite Earths in 1986 to Flashpoint in 2011. The fourth generation being the comics we're reading today. So that would be like New 52 through Rebirth. And the fifth generation, which would be 5G, is likely to be what is moving forward. And so that's what they were looking at doing this year, and it all kind of goes back. It all kind of started with Vertigo and the tanking of Vertigo, and there was so much crap that happened with Vertigo when Vertigo tanked, and a lot of the comic gates and Me Too movement had a lot to do with that, and that was kind of what started all this. And they're just like, it's a dead medium. And so if we don't get the ships turned around and starts doing better in sales, we're gonna nix it. And if they nix it and sell off those rights, that's a ton of money. That's a quick way for them to get out of debt.
Well, Vertigo is gone? I didn't know that.
Yeah, they closed Vertigo a few months ago, or last year, like the end of last year.
January 2020. It says right here, and that's crazy. So Constantine and V for Vendetta and all that stuff is now just going to be under the DC Comics umbrella.
It's all under the DC Comics umbrella. Yep. They canceled Vertigo and launched their DC Black.
So I know none of you guys read manga, but in about a year ago, Viz, which is the American publisher that has licensed a lot of the Japanese manga, they do an 100% digital weekly release of their comics, and it has been pretty awesome, I'll say. And there's a Shueisha, which is a Japanese publisher, has its own online publishing arm as well, which takes the weekly publications and puts them digital for everybody worldwide. One what do you guys think of that as like a possibility for DC Comics to live on in publication, but as an online medium rather than print?
Well, they kind of do something similar now with DC Universe, don't they? Don't you have access to all of their catalog?
Well, a good portion of it, yeah.
But they don't put the new stuff on there, and I think that's kind of
Right.
where they're missing the boat a little bit. I think new comics in a digital medium are so hard to get. Like, you do have Comixology, but I think Comixology has kind of a higher price point on it, which might deter some people. But if you found a way to put the new stuff on with one of these streaming companies and just made it like an added, extra thing on there instead of charging people for it, I think you could develop a whole new generation of readers. I think that they're alienating new people, especially when most people feel like they can get the same experience from watching the movies.
See,
But
I don't
they
think
just
so,
don't make them
'cause-
readily available.
Well, digital comics has been a thing for years, and you can go on your Kindle or whatever and download digital versions of the comics that came out that week. That's how Travis from Comic Exposure reads his stuff. It's there. It's easy to get. It's just people aren't interested in it. Comics are a lost art form, man. It's people still like, and I'm part of this majority. I like the feel of the book in my hand. I like the smell of the comic book. I like that experience. I won't read them if I have to read them digitally. I'll go to something else. It's the same. Like, a lot of people like to read books because they like the physical feel of the book in their hand. So,
See, I feel like
agree.
I'm with you on that. So I don't read a ton of comics. The ones I have read have been digital. Oh, sorry. And I feel like I would enjoy reading them more if they were physical, because especially when I'm reading them on my phone, it's not easy to do because you have to zoom in on things, or a lot of them, like DC. I was just pulling up DC Universe's app. They have like a way to like zoom in on it for you, and it makes it easier to read, but it's still not very easy. Like, if I had an iPad, maybe it would be better, but I think that comics are a bit better in a physical form than they are in a digital form.
I think you can appreciate the art a little bit more when it's in a physical form.
Yeah.
I think it loses. Sometimes when you look at these things through the iPad, I think it loses some of its vibrancy. Is that a word? Like, it loses its kind of what
Pop.
made the. Yes, exactly. Thank you, Sam. But I have read comics digitally just because, there's not a comic store within 10 to 15 miles of my house.
oh, I bet you there probably is.
The closest one is Apache Comics, which I don't even know if it's there because I think something happened with the owner. And that might be 15 to 20 miles away from my house.
I've got a bunch by me, but I used to live right by Lance, and I'm not aware of like any nearby there either.
It's just, there's not a whole lot of niche. How do you say that?
I'm surrounded by them. I've got Dreadnought. I've got Drawn to Comics. I've got Surprise Comics.
you're in Glendale.
Samurai. Yeah, I know. So I mean, they're everywhere in this area. I mean, I could feel it. And that's what the digital comics are there for. It's there for people in rural areas that can't get to a comic book shop. You can even order them online still. But I mean, the thing about these it's a beauty because you can hold it in your hand, but then you can also frame them. Like, I've got them framed around my room in art pieces like this. It can be looked at as a piece of art. Like, if I had a daughter and she was into comic books, I would definitely frame that and hang it in her room. The physical books can be used for more things than just sitting on your iPad. So
the art is way cooler in person than digitally a lot of the time, I think.
Yeah.
Like, that is really cool art, but it's going to look a lot cooler when you're holding it in your hand as opposed to me looking at that art on Google.
But pay attention to what's going on, because this is going to be a huge deal. And I think, and that's kind of like I said, why we didn't touch on it last night, because I think that Didio being fired is just it's the bottom floor. We haven't even reached its final form yet. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens moving forward, because DC hasn't even released an official statement about it yet. That's it. Like, all we know is he's gone. and the speculation around the industry is that it was not on his terms and it was not by his choice. So it's gonna be very interesting to see what happens. And you kind of look at the books and the seeds are already been planted. I mean, you've already had Marvel talking about DC in the Thor, the new Donny Cates Thor book, and you've had DC talking about Marvel and some of their stuff at hints of a crisis that takes place in 2030. So there's going to be a lot that comes out of this, and like Larry said from STS guy said in your chat, it's going to open up a ton of possibilities. It's definitely a good thing, I think, regardless if it means the end of the DC comic medium and their publishing. I think the first step to major change is Didio getting ousted.
Now they have currently more success than Marvel does, right? In the publishing arm.
They're the big two, but it just depends on the month. They go back and forth with the top selling books. But
do they?
Yeah. At a global scale, I'm going to say Marvel has more success than DC just because their movies outperform them. DC's movies, their sales outperform them. I mean, they outperform DC in a lot of areas. So games.
DC in recent memory has had much better writing than Marvel, wouldn't you say?
No, I disagree.
It's hit and miss.
It's hit and miss on both sides.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't know. For a while there, it seemed hard to find a Marvel comic that was a good read for about a year or two. The first one I remember was that the X-Men House of is it House of M?
You're going back far. Like they had a lot of good stuff since then. The Superior Spider-Man, all new X-Men. There's been a lot of good stuff coming out of Marvel.
That's since then, right?
Yeah.
Since then?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that House of M seemed like the first one in like a year or so that was like a decent good read. Now they've had a few hits since then.
There's always lulls within the comic industry and hit or miss storylines, and you never know what's going to pay off. So it's just it's like that for every publishing company. It's just a matter of like DC. Like image gets talked about because it's creator owned, and two, they're willing to take more chances with different style books than Marvel is, because these superheroes are established. They're come to, you expect something from them, so they have to go a certain way, and they're very careful with the $1 billion properties. And Image, these aren't $1 billion properties. These are creator owned properties that they can take chances and do whatever they want with. So there's not
unless
much.
You consider Walking Dead.
Well, even then, Walking Dead is still Robert Kirkman that's still his creation. I mean, he still owns the comic book rights to it and all that. Like that's.
But Walking Dead. What I'm saying is, Walking Dead is a huge property.
Yeah, but Robert Kirkman still could do whatever he wanted over that. There was nobody sitting there telling him, "No, you can't do that. Don't do that.
Right.
You can't kill this character." He could do whatever he wanted when he wanted.
Right.
So
there was no oversight.
Right. There's nobody standing over you going like, Batman wouldn't do that. You can't do that with Batman. That's not how this is supposed to go. There's no editor.
You're hurting the brand.
Right. You could be trying to push an edgy make an edgy statement, and your editor goes, no, Batman wouldn't do that. That's nixed. Get rid of that. They don't have that with Image and the creator owned stuff. I mean, IDW and Dark Horse are making a push, but they're nowhere on the level of Marvel and DC. And that's why if DC went under, I think you're going to see, and they wanted to start auctioning off or, selling off these rights to make money back, you'll see Disney Marvel jumping all over it.
Aftershock has a pretty good market hold too, don't they?
Could you imagine seeing the Batman logo or the Superman logo with a Marvel Comics brand in the corner?
I don't like it. I don't want to see that.
But I wonder.
That's hard to envision.
I wonder if they wouldn't put the Marvel brand on there. I wonder if it would be published.
Oh,
by
absolutely!
Marvel,
I think they absolutely would.
Well, wouldn't that be? Wouldn't that be confusing if the movies say DC Comics and the comic
That would be like
books say
storming a
Marvel?
castle. That'd be like storming at your enemy's castle and not raising your flag in victory.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it would be as confusing because I think comic book fans are going to be in the know on that kind of a thing. It's like with Star Wars; they have a Marvel logo for theirs. Correct me if I'm wrong, Matt, but that's my understanding. Marvel publishes the Star Wars comics. I know that's different. It's not like Star Wars comics are as big as like a Batman or a Superman comic or even Green Lantern, really. But I think it's okay. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see Marvel and Batman be in the same sentence, really.
But I mean, they could.
Well,
they could very
we've
well
had
too.
crossovers before.
They could very well
Crossovers
too
are
keep
fine.
them single branded. Like they could still keep them like DC Comics or just DC. Like they've still got Searchlight or 20th Century. They're just gonna, I don't know if they would keep the DC name, but
so they'd still be in their same universes.
Yeah, they
but
still
it would
in
just
their
be
own universe.
published by Marvel.
Right.
So, that I could get behind. It'd still be weird, but I could get more behind that.
But I don't think, like you were saying about Aftershock. Aftershock's kind of still a little company too. So you got to think compared to Marvel and DC, all these companies are small potatoes. So
yeah,
it's very true.
I suppose you're right.
I mean, compared to any one trying to go up against a company that's backed by Disney, who owns everything almost, it's small potatoes.
You ask a day-to-day person if they can name a comic book publisher besides Marvel and DC, and I bet most people wouldn't be able to tell you another publisher.
Probably not. Maybe Skybound because of the Walking Dead TV show, but which is a subsidiary of Image. But
I don't even think most people would know Image. They wouldn't know Valiant.
Yeah.
They wouldn't know Aftershock. They wouldn't know any of those.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know what those were until about 2 years ago.
Mirage Studios.
I don't know.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But now they're owned by IDW, so
yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys watch that the Toys That Made Us thing that they had on Netflix?
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys see any of those?
I only watched the Ninja Turtles episode.
Okay, so the whole series is really good. I've watched every episode, and then they have a companion show called The Movies That Made Us. But that Ninja Turtles episode was awesome because it got Kevin Eastman and what's his first name? Laird. Peter Laird. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So these guys haven't spoken to each other in years. The two of them started Ninja Turtles together, and the end of the episode got them to kind of reconcile a little bit. And now there's a comic book coming out soon with the two of them being attached as writers for the Ninja Turtles. So that show kind of like got these two guys back together that kind of hated each other because Kevin Eastman feels like Peter Laird kind of screwed him out of some royalties and stuff like that when Peter Laird sold his rights to Ninja Turtles or something like that. I forget exactly what goes into it.
You're getting it mixed up. No, Peter Laird bought Kevin Eastman's ownership. He bought his shares.
Oh, is that what it was?
Kevin Eastman wanted out. He was like, I'm young. I want to do my own thing. I'm out. So Peter Laird bought his shares and felt kind of like Kevin Eastman abandoned their project, their property.
Mm-hmm.
And so sense. That was kind of the genesis of the rough feelings is that Kevin Eastman sold out.
Yeah.
Said I would rather have the money and go do some other things. And so he took the money and did some other things. And Ninja Turtles has just every time they reboot almost every time they reboot Ninja Turtles, it does better than the time before. It's just a property that keeps getting better and better every time.
Well, I mean, better as far as
yeah, that's debatable. better is debatable, but yeah, I understand what you're saying.
There's only 2 animated series that I think are worth anything that they've come out with, and 2 movies that I think are any good. Now, Max will try to convince you that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 is a good movie.
I like 3. I like all of them.
The one where they go back in time?
Yeah, I
There's
appreciate it for what it is.
No.
there is so there's some evidence out there that in the second movie, Secret of the Ooze, that they never revealed what the secret of the ooze actually was. That they went through and rewrote the script to take out what the secret of the ooze actually was. And in some earlier versions of that script for Secret of the Ooze, the scientist, I forget what the character's name was, but the scientist was originally supposed to be a Krang droid, and he was coming to reclaim the mutagen that had been left in New York City by the Krang, and they ended up changing it, probably because the special effects were going to be too tough or too expensive. But what might have been, right? Could have had actual Ninja Turtles, like really, really true to the storyline, or really true to the fans' storyline about the Krang coming in Secret of the Ooze. In the script that we got, you have Donatello saying, the scientist says, "Oh, it was an accident." And Donatello says, "No, that can't be it. That can't be all there is." And then they never follow up on that. They just leave it as it was an accident. And that's not the secret of the Ooze, right? There's no secret there. That's just whoops. And then they just leave it.
The Secret of the Ooze has a lot of flaws, but I felt like it still captured the kind of adolescence that made the cartoon series so successful. I felt like that one better captured that kind of tone, more so than even the first Ninja Turtles, which is my favorite Ninja Turtles movie. But the first Ninja Turtles was far more adult than the cartoon, and the Secret of Ooze tried to go back to that kid type of tone.
See, I think
but I still love them both.
I think 3 is better than 2 in a lot of ways, and Grizzle Geek just made the perfect argument for it. Any movie with Casey Jones in it is awesome, and he's only in 1 and 3. So,
I love 3. It's so good.
No.
Yeah, I think that there was a couple of things that they should have done in 2 that they didn't. Focusing on Kino rather than replacing Casey Jones with Kino was kind of a weird step. Who is Kino? Kino's nobody from the cartoon. He's nobody from the comics. He's an original character, and none of the fans had any attachment to him other than, oh, look, he can do backflips, and that's kind of cool. But I digress. But
that was also kind of the flavor of that time, though, because that movie came right out. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I think that movie came out right around the same time as like Surf Ninjas and Three Ninjas. It was like that.
Well, those movies were trying to capitalize on the ninja fervor.
Yeah,
they were trying to cash in on the Ninja Turtle fan base.
You had to have that Asian-led kung fu actor movie of the time around those times. So.
Yeah. American Ninja.
Yeah. No, you're right.
I loved Kino, man. I just grew up with those movies, though, and so I can't see them in any other lens than the nostalgia. All the Ninja Turtle movies are awesome, and I enjoy all of them. Give me Kino,
the
Pizza
recent
Delivery
two?
Guy. Okay, no.
You like the recent two?
No, the original 3. The original 3. The more recent 2, I was an adult for, and I don't look at them through nostalgia-covered glasses. I look at them as movies that I'm seeing for the first time, and I've only seen each of them once.
I mean, as long as we're talking about Ninja Turtles, I do want to mention the Ninja Turtles Power Rangers crossover. There's a comic book with a Ninja Turtles Power Rangers crossover.
It's so good.
It's amazing.
So good.
Let me just say this next phrase. 3 words. Green Ranger Shredder.
Yep.
It's
good,
cool.
Matt.
It is.
Have you been reading it, Sam?
I have.
Yeah. It's awesome.
What about the Batman Ninja Turtles crossover? I heard that was good too.
The first one
was
I
have the movie that I really liked. I have the movie, and I love it.
That's what I was referring to as the movie. I haven't watched it yet because I think it must be under a different publishing deal because it's not on DC Universe like a lot of the other animated movies.
They've released 2 issues of the Power Ranger Ninja Turtle crossover. the third one, or at the end of the second one, they're teasing that the Ninja Turtles are going to be using the Power Ranger coins.
That's the end of the third one. There's 3 issues.
Oh,
out.
yeah. Okay, sorry. Yeah, it's the third one. But the Ninja Turtles are getting ready to put on the Power Ranger armor.
Nice.
Yeah, they're gonna.
That's awesome. Okay, I'm reading these tonight.
and it's gonna be awesome.
That does sound cool.
I'm reading these tonight because the Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles are forever going to be a piece of my childhood. Like anything that they come out with, like I'll always give it a shot.
Like
Dude,
their variant covers for them are pretty awesome too. If you haven't seen them, let me see if I can.
The Green Ranger Shredder design
Here you go.
is so clean. It is so clean.
That's the variant for one of them. It's
Wow, look at
Leonardo
that.
holding the Blue Ranger
The Blue
helmet.
Ranger helmet. Look
Mhm.
at that.
That's awesome. So I don't know if you guys know this, but a few, in the late 90s, early 2000s, I don't remember, there was a Ninja Turtles TV show called The Next Mutation, where
we
they
know.
introduced a female.
Yeah, Venus de Milo.
I know the two of you probably know, but maybe somebody listening won't know. But they introduced a female character.
I think I know where you're going with this, but they did
There's
a
a
Power
crossover
Rangers
event.
crossover there too.
Yeah,
It was the
and it wasn't
Power
good.
Rangers in space.
and it wasn't very good. That was the Power Rangers that had the little kid that he would morph and then turn into an adult, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
That was Turbo then.
Whoa,
That would have been Turbo.
Well, you got to throw that back up, dude. Why'd you take that down? Let's
I was trying to find a better version. That's why I took it down.
look at this design.
Is that the
That's
one?
way cool.
Yeah, that's the Shredder Green Ranger.
Super cool. That is really cool. That's super cool. I love it. And the better look at the full length. That's awesome. That's so
That's
cool.
really cool.
And I love like Rita confronts him about it, and she's like, "Give me back my power coin." He basically tells her to bite him.
Yeah,
He's like, "Bite me." He was like, "If you could to pry it from my cold dead hands."
That's the coolest
awesome.
looking Power Ranger I've ever seen.
it's amazing.
Yeah, that's.
I can't
really
wait to see what
awesome.
the turtles look like morphed. I think that's going to
Not
be
that.
super
What
dope.
is no, here you go.
Are you, are you sharing something? Oh,
These are more of the like rough sketch, and it does look a lot cleaner in the comic, but that gives you a really good sense of what he's looking like. Yeah.
Okay. I like.
Oh,
it.
there you go. That image right there. There you go.
Okay. I actually like the rough image a bit better, but that's really cool. I love it. This one too. This looks like
There you
right
go.
from the comic.
There you go.
That's the final page of the issue too.
Issue 2.
That's
Man, that's
awesome.
cool. That's cool. For the listeners, I'm sorry. If you guys just Google Green Ranger Shredder, you'll see these images. That's all I did. It's pretty cool. You guys should check this out.
I mean, it's a really great combination of the Green Ranger's green and gold with the Shredder's purple and silver, and they've done a really good job of tying those two color schemes together. The Arbor is Shredder in a lot of ways, and it's Green Ranger in a lot of ways, and it just looks really great.
It's very nostalgic too. That comic book series is very nostalgic. It's very a 90s nostalgia smorgasbord.
Looks awesome.
Power
Who,
Rangers.
is that
Really
IDW or is that Boom? Who puts this
Uh,
out? IDW or Boom?
I think it's IDW.
I think it is IDW. Let me check.
We should have put up a new banner. We've been talking about Ninja Turtles for a while.
It's
Oh, yeah.
it's both. It's IDW and Boom. They're collaborating.
Yeah, because I think Boom owns the rights to the Power Rangers publishing, if I'm not mistaken.
So yeah, it looks like
Speaking
it's
of, we're
Boom.
getting a new Power Rangers movie from Hasbro here pretty soon.
Look,
And I'm
here,
excited.
check this out. The final page.
There it is. They've got the
All
power
right.
coins getting ready to morph.
Oh,
That's
nice.
awesome. Zordon looks awesome, dude.
So
But yeah, note in the back there, who else has a power coin besides the Turtles? That's April O'Neil.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That's
they've got
cool.
her with a power
Give her
coin
the
too.
pink. Give her the pink Ranger. Yellow, I guess, based on her like 80s yellow jumpsuit.
Does that mean? See, I want to know if Raph is finally going to get his time to shine to lead the group, because it looks like he's going to get
Red
the
Ranger.
because Leo's got the
That'd
blue.
be awesome, man. I want Raph to be the leader. Raph's my favorite.
Yeah, but they do that in the new cartoon and it sucks.
Okay, but shh, let me enjoy it.
Yeah, man, let Raph have his time to shine.
No,
Raph,
Leonardo
it's
should be the
like,
leader, that's it.
It's like Wolverine and the X-Men when they make Wolverine the leader of the X-Men.
Yeah. Don't you ever compare the greatness that is Ninja Turtles Power Rangers comics to that atrocious Nickelodeon cartoon.
Yeah, Power Rangers Ninja Turtles it's really good. It's really good. You guys, it's hitting all the right nostalgia buttons.
I'm gonna read them tonight. I think I'm gonna start reading them because I usually just kind of steer away from those things because they're usually just hokey. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
those,
I might.
A lot of those crossovers and stuff. They seem to pander just for book sales. They're a lot of the time they're never really any good. You know. So that's good to hear you guys say that.
This has me interested enough. I might need to go drive down to my comic book shop next week and see if they have these in stock because these sound really cool.
I thought it was going to be hokey.
Are any of those hard to find?
No. Until I've read
They're
the
pretty
first
easy to
issue,
find.
and I was like, well, issue 2 might be a little challenging just because of the Shredder Green Ranger, and I think I'm expecting issue 4 might be a little bit hard because you're going to see the turtles all morphed. So I would say get on it if you're going to do it, or wait until they all come out and then get the trade.
Yeah,
But,
that might be a good idea. How many issues are there expected to be?
I'm assuming 6, but I don't know how many issues are going to be. I'm expecting 6, but
Dang it.
But if it's successful, they're probably gonna
maybe
if
4.
It's successful, they're probably gonna do more iterations of it. Would you say? If it's successful,
I would assume so. If they do, yeah.
If it prints money, they're going to want to keep printing money.
The crazy thing is they exist in the same universe. There's no like interdimensional travel or nothing like that. They're in the same universe. Like
that's right.
I think they could exist in the same universe.
Well, it's just like caption is New York City, and then the next caption is Angel Grove, and that's it. There's no
that's awesome.
There's no heavy lifting that needs to be done to get them together. They just
and like the turtles have heard about the Power Rangers, and the Power Rangers like, oh, that's cool. You know, like, so it's like they're aware, like Michelangelo is aware of them. And so it's kind of crazy.
That sounds awesome.
So
that's really cool.
Worth checking out.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Well, let's get into our main topic tonight. Let's talk about
what is Sam eating for dinner tomorrow? Is that the main topic?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Probably cereal. My wife is out of town.
Oh, that's awesome. No, we're going to talk about Locke and Key. So all 4 of us have seen Locke and Key. Max finished it most recently. So let's hear real quick. Max, what did in a quick overview, what did you think of Locke and Key?
Spoiler free or spoilers?
Yeah, just take like a minute or two, just to give a real quick spoiler free overview, and then we'll dissect it a little bit more in a minute.
Yeah, so I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun time. I enjoyed the acting, except for Georgie. He was kind of crappy. But yeah, I enjoyed it. Locke and Key was fun, a little bit dark, but it was still pretty family friendly. I don't know. I don't know how to give a quick overview on it. I just I had a good time, but it's got some issues.
Poor Georgie gets no love.
He wasn't
He's
terrible.
not
Lance made it sound like that kid was like the worst thing ever anytime he was on screen. He wasn't the worst, but you could tell he doesn't act as well as the older kids. His 2 siblings in the show had much better performances, but they're also like 10 years older.
So what you're saying
how old
is about when it comes to acting, trust Lance's opinion is about as much as Tyler's opinion on Stuber.
No.
Anytime we can call back to Stuber and Tyler, that's a good hit.
Oh,
when
man.
when we talk about child actors, right? Because I thought he was pretty good in It, but he has very limited scenes in It, right? Because he dies within the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
When we talk about child actors in this day and age, there's so many good child actors that being a child is just not an adequate excuse for being a bad actor. It's not. When you have kids like the Tremblay kid from Wonder and Room and stuff like that, putting on these really good performances,
That's fair.
and then you get Georgie, like it. My biggest issue with bad actors, and it seems to be a pretty common thing that I notice with these actors, it's almost as if they're reading from cue cards. Or in Georgie's case, it looks like he's reading from cue cards, and then he's overacting the emotion that he's supposed to be eliciting. He's supposed to be portraying. He's just, every time he spoke on screen, I was just taken out of the moment.
It wasn't that bad for me, but so we keep saying Georgie. His character's name is Bodhi, and you're right. It left some to be desired. He overacted. I agree. There were times where I'm just like, you're going a little too much, but overall, I still enjoyed it. I just found the show to be fairly predictable. That was one of my issues with it. In some ways, it was fun that it was predictable, but in other ways, I was just like, when I wasn't even surprised at the end when there was supposed to be a big twist, and it wasn't really a big twist because both my wife and I saw both of the twists coming, I was just a little disappointed. I'm not usually one to predict things in movies. That's not my personality. I'm not usually the guy that at the beginning says, oh, so-and-so is going to turn out to be the villain. That's not me. But in this, I totally could predict it, so that was one of my slight issues.
So he's 11 years old, that kid.
Okay.
I didn't think he was even
He's
that
young.
old.
He's a young
I'm
looking
gonna
kid.
give that kid your address.
Yeah.
He's actually really good friends with my cousin's son because he's from Arizona.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did a signing a couple months ago at this gluten-free bakery where he was signing a bunch of Georgie Funko Pops.
Oh, well, then let me go on record and say I thought he did a heck of a job.
Yeah, there you go. Sell it.
I thought he did a heck of a job.
It's possible with a little bit more practice, and if he'll probably get more roles because 2 of the things he's been in already are successful. But with a little bit more practice, he might get better. But I just think there's so many kids in that age group that are just phenomenal actors.
Just you got to stop.
He just left a little
Matt
bit
has
desired.
an in. We could interview this kid if you just be nice.
Right?
Too late.
What are we going to ask him? What are we going to ask him? What his favorite cookie is?
Who cares what we ask him? We put in the headline.
It's too late. Too late. Lance done burned that bridge. It's torched.
You ruined it.
His agent's going to be like, "Screw you and your Fantastic Four shirt."
I'll just sit out that episode.
All right. I thought
my Fantastic Four shirt's awesome.
That's a cool shirt.
Matt and I were kind of going back and forth over how to describe it with Lance a couple weeks back, and I came up with the perfect description. So it's Stranger Things meets This Old House.
I haven't seen This Old House, so I can't really.
This Old House is a home improvement show with Bob Vila.
It's a what show?
Yeah,
home improvement show.
I don't know.
In fact, did you ever watch Home Improvement? Did you ever watch Home Improvement with Tim Allen?
I watched Home Improvement, yeah.
Bob Vila,
Richard
Vila is his
Karn.
but Bob Vila is Tim Allen's nemesis on several episodes of that show, and because it's his show, This Old House competes with Tool Time. That's what it was called, right?
Yeah.
So
Richard Karn. Richard Karn is the host of This Old House now.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I've never heard of this show.
It's a PBS home
improvement
improvement
show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But it was like before HGTV and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like
I remember my mom and dad watching that every Saturday morning. You come out from your room to get a cereal, and they're watching This Old House Saturday mornings.
And you're like, turn that off, Mom. I got to watch Spider-Man.
Yeah. I just went into a different room. Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna hook it up with Georgie and the kid who plays Georgie, and we're gonna get him to sign some pops, and just gonna I'm gonna record him just taking a Georgie pop they sign and be like, "Hey Lance, guess what? Down here you float too," and then he's just gonna light it on fire.
I don't have any it pops. Well, we're going on a field trip with Sam.
Well, he's back. Maybe he was going to get a drink.
Oh, I thought House Tours was part of Couch Crunchers now.
Yeah,
It should be.
I had someone knocking on my door. I just thought it was one of my kids, but
No, that's an accurate description, I would say. I think it had a little bit of a Goonies vibe in it as well, with the kids going down into the caves and things like that. But
Yeah.
I do want to say this. I think the two older kids did a really good job,
I agree.
and I'm glad that they got the most screen time.
I loved Tyler. I loved both.
I'm glad.
of them.
I'm
Tyler
glad
was my favorite.
you're announcing your love for Tyler. I'm sure he'll be glad to hear it. Maybe you two can go watch Stuber on your first date.
They're cousins, man. They're cousins. That's weird.
You can tell by the red beards that they're somehow related. Actually, Max, Tyler, and Sam look like they could all be part of the same family, and I'm just sitting over here with my bald head and beardless face. I've been voted off.
I mean, we're all white bearded fellows, I guess. Is that what you mean?
No, but you guys got the red. You guys kind of got the reddish
That's true.
beards
I do have a reddish beard. It's more gray nowadays. Look at all that gray in there.
Someone actually asked me once if Sam and Tyler were brothers. I said no. Pretty sure they met because of me.
We are not relation.
It's a missed opportunity if at WonderCon you don't sit Tyler down and go, look, we need to just film you watching Stuber, and you need to break this film down for us. You need to just break it down why it's so great as you go along.
Poor guy. He's already embarrassed enough that he gave it a 5.
Is he embarrassed?
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, you're right." He was telling me once. He's like, "Yeah, it's probably not a 5. Leave me alone about it."
He's just giving it peer pressure. He's just giving it to peer pressure now.
No, come on. He's got to stick to his guns.
That's why you can't. That's why you can't review a movie 5 seconds after you've seen it. You have
If
to
I can never live down the 9.8 of Captain Marvel, he's never living down Stuber.
You gave Captain Marvel a 9.8.
Right out of seeing it, I did. Yep.
You're like, that's the best movie I've seen.
It was.
All
And
decade.
then I watched it again, and I was like, I was horribly wrong.
That's why. Okay, so I knew the 9.8 thing was a joke. I didn't know where it was from. And then you were like adamant after you and I were like messaging on Facebook or something about how we were going to review Star Wars right after seeing it. And you kept saying, "Don't do it. Don't do it. You're going to give it a score you regret."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's why.
That's why.
I learned my lesson.
The only movie in recent memory that I can say I walked out of the theater and I have the same emotion today that I had when I saw it is the latest reboot of The Grudge. It was awful when I walked out, and it's probably even more awful now.
Yeah. It's interesting because when we saw Suicide Squad, you were like, you loved it. I remember you like how you were like,
I still like
love.
Suicide Squad.
But
I still like Suicide Squad. I don't love it, but I still like it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's fair. Like, our opinions of things change. Like, I walked out of The Last Jedi and I loved it. And then we talked about it on the show, and all of us were praising it, saying how great it was. And then throughout like the last couple of years, as I've seen the movie more and thought about it more, I'm like, yeah, it's not great. Like, it's got a lot of issues. I still enjoy the movie overall, but it's a good point, Matt, that like right after you get out of something, you might love it when it really wasn't that great.
All
Emotions get in the way.
Well, let's
Did
hear
anybody
about,
get? Go ahead, Sam.
Let's just hear about what Matt thought of Locke and Key before we get too far afield.
Yeah, you're right.
I thought I'm right there. I think this old house is the perfect analogy for it, comparison for it. And like Sam said, Max, God damn. Like Max says, it was very predictable at the end. I thought it was fun for the first few episodes, and then the last two I felt were kind of drug out and were kind of boring. And the twist, both the twists at the end, I was like, yeah, I saw that coming completely.
Now I have a thing about twists. So I think with an ending, you don't want to be blindsided, or you don't want to feel like it's coming out of left field, right? Like a Deus Ex Machina. You don't want something like that. You want to be able to put the pieces together and say, okay, they did the legwork. They built the foundation for this ending. So they earned it, but at the same time, you want to feel surprised in how they delivered it. And for me, like the best example, or maybe the easiest example, the simplest example is Kung Fu Panda and the secret ingredient. Like they did legwork early in the movie, and you just kind of forget about it through the whole movie. And then when everything else has been expended, you're like, what else is left? What else can they go back to? And you're like, oh yeah, that secret ingredient. Let's see what they do with that. And then, of course, that turns out to be the key. But the way that they did it may have been surprising. It was surprising to me. It may have been surprising to you as well. And so with Locke and Key, I felt like they did a lot of setup, but then it kind of meanders, right? The whole setup lies in a key that they never recover. They talk about it several times, but then they never recover it. And
Which key is that? The Omega?
No, it's called the identity key.
Oh, right.
And so they show the identity key several times, and I'm like, okay, they haven't recovered it, so that's still in so and so's hands, and that turns out to be the key to, the key, both literally the key and also story wise, it's the key to unlocking the twist endings, both of them. So if you kept that in your mind, which was easy to do because they telegraphed it several times, you did see the things coming. And they spent 2 episodes longer than they probably should have getting to the finale.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I thought it was a lot of fun. They showed me a lot of things, like the climbing into the kid's toy box of his headspace. That was really
awesome.
Cool.
I loved the head key. The head key was super cool, and I kept thinking, man, I want one of those.
Mall, where they go into the mall for the girl. I thought that was really cool too. But the best one was when they go into the lady that's in the like hospice, I guess you could call it, where she's like mute. And they go in that old house, like her head is that old decrepit house, and it turns out like her psyche or whatever is trapped in there.
Yeah,
you know,
and I
what
was
I'm talking
hoping
about?
they would go. I was hoping. Really cool. I was hoping they'd go back to her, but I think they're leaving that for season 2, which is good. I mean, you're leaving us wanting more. I definitely want more, and I agree with Sam. It was a ton of fun. I really enjoyed the show. But that's one of those aspects I'm really wanting more. I want to see, what are they going to do? Let her out of her head, I loved that part too.
I'll question if we even get a season 2, honestly.
Really?
They've covered all I believe they've covered all the books that are released right now in season 1.
There's still 2 books they haven't covered, and there's still 2 questions they haven't covered. 1, where did the keys come from? And 2, what is actually behind the Omega door? So those are 2 big questions to explore.
I agree.
And that material is covered in the books, but they haven't covered it yet.
Have you read the books?
I didn't read all the way through the books. I did kind of a synopsis just to
because I know they did like the original set, which is what the show is based off of, and then they've done like standalone individual books since then.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't done a physical like second set of books yet.
And if I understand right, Joe King is still working on some more of them. He's still working on some Locke and Key stories.
Yeah.
It's an interesting universe for sure. I like the world they built up. I like the old house. I like the keys. It's unique. You see a lot of like magical stories, but using the keys is kind of fun, and they're different in the way you use them, and there's like rules behind them. Like with the ghost key, you can't close the door, or they're stuck as a ghost, I guess. We don't know why, which I think if you learn more about the background of where the keys came from, maybe it could explain some of the why. But I just found that really interesting, how each of the keys does something different, and they're used differently in a lot of ways. Some of them you use a box and you speak into it. Some of them you put them into your neck or into your chin. Some of them you have to put into a specific door. You know what I mean? I liked that. It really means that if you're on your home turf in the key house with the keys, you could do some damage. But the problem is these kids were stupid, which was another issue I had. But at the same time, they're teenagers. Like, they were dumb. They made a lot of bad decisions. And I am down to talk about some of that, but I don't want to get into it if we're not going to get into spoilers yet.
Oh, I mean, I just feel like you set it up, so now you can't leave the people wanting.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to spoilers now then. So for our listeners, we're going to spoil it now. Lance, do you want to update the banner just in case anyone pops in? They know that it's being spoiled. All right, so at the end of the show, I think it's either at the end of the second to last episode or near the beginning of the last episode, they are finally talking to Ellie.
Hold on, don't
Hang
spoil
on,
it
man.
yet. Lance
Hang
hasn't
on,
done his
Max.
job.
All right.
Lance hasn't done his job yet. There we go.
All right.
I had to create it.
All good. You could have just edited the one, but that's fine. So at the end of the end of the show, they're finally talking to Ellie. She's finally involved with them, and she has the identity key. And didn't she have another key? She had the one that goes into the helmet, into the crown.
The shadow key.
The shadow key, yes. And they're talking about it, and they create this plan. And then she leaves and takes the frickin' key with her. My wife and I looked at each other, and they said, "Did they take the key from her, or did she take it?" And we're like, "She took the key? What the frick? Why are these idiots not taking the key and guarding it? Like, when you know that the Locke kids can't, like, they don't have to give her the key." And that's another question. Why are the Locke kids so special? You know, why do they have to give up the keys to this demon rather than her being able, or he being able to take the keys?
Because
So, like,
the Locke family are the keeper of the keys, man.
yeah, and that's what I got. I don't need them to answer that question, but if we had more background, I think it'd be cool. But like, that was one really stupid decision, and there were several others, and they're teenagers. I get that, but like, what's her name? I've got it pulled up here. Kinsey. When Kinsey is messing with the bully, is it Eden? I think her name's Eden. Like, when she's messing with her, and she keeps going further and further and further. I'm like, are you an idiot? Why are you continuing to do this? You're just going to draw attention to yourself. Which, ironically, it turns out that the boy that was with her was the demon all along, which my wife and I started to see coming about an episode after that. But anyway.
But these are also kids. They're also kids that have this like otherworldly power, and they're going to make stupid decisions. I mean, we kind of see it a little bit in Stranger Things, right? Like, 11 kind of uses her powers a little stupidly every so often.
That's true.
You know,
well, Bodhi is constantly using the keys by himself. The siblings won't communicate with each other until about halfway through. It's just some of that stuff. It wasn't I get it, they're kids, but it was rubbing me a little wrong. I'm like, man, you guys are dumb. Make better decisions.
Well, I mean, as parents in these shows, you got to kind of question parents. You guys are parents yourselves. Where's the parental supervision in all of this?
I was thinking that too.
You know, in what world are you going to just let your kids run around and use some weird ass keys they just found?
Well, I feel like they did a decent job of taking the parents out of the equation. You know, she's recently lost her husband. She's got some kind of magical memory block, and she's basically derailed with all of her emotional trauma that she's trying to overcome.
Well, and the fact that she's an alcoholic and she's got her own demon she's battling with.
Yeah. What I thought was kind of disappointing with everything was how on the nose they were with like everybody's motivation, where Bodhi says in almost every episode, I'm not a kid. You can't treat me like a kid. You got to talk to me. Right. It's like, okay, we get it. He's trying to be grown up. We get that. I thought, even though it was very direct, I thought the imagery of Kinsey going into her own brain and pulling her fear out and then burying it was cool. It was a really cool idea.
I like that.
But then it turns her into a very reckless character. And when you talk about a lot of the decisions that were poorly made, I feel like she was the one doing the bulk of the poor decisions. And I like the
fear.
Well, it was the fact that, she didn't have any fear to keep her from making reckless decisions, right? So as she's persecuting Eden, up walks this kid who hasn't been in any of the other episodes up until that point. He just appears. Gabe, right? So Gabe shows up.
Was
And I'm
this
like,
before he was in a lobster suit? That was his first appearance?
pretty sure he just showed up at that moment, and he's like,
Okay.
"Whoa, are you guys using that box to puppet Eden right now?"
Oh,
And
no. He was in the lobster suit. You see him before that happens.
Okay, that's what I thought.
He's in the
Oh,
lobster
okay.
suit when they're filming the movie, and she freaks out. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, that's like
I
the
guess
first
I
or
guess I
second
fell asleep
episode.
at that part, but I might have fallen asleep at that. But he like pops in, and she just spills the beans to him, and I was like, he doesn't know. He doesn't have to know about this.
Yeah.
That's a very reckless decision.
Yeah.
And it's all because she has no fear. So there's no fear of her consequences of her actions. There's no fear of doing things that are scary to most normal kids. So she does a lot of the bad decisions. And I think they're trying to say that fear keeps you from making such bad decisions. And then the older brother, remind me his name again?
Tyler.
Tyler. He was
Man, there's a hell of an echo in here. Tyler.
Stuber.
I heard that's the greatest comedy ever. I heard it's a 5.
5 out of 5. 6 out of 5.
You guys see Grizzled Geek here? He says, these damn kids are the product of hand sanitizer participation trophy generation. Get off my lawn!
Tyler was like, he was probably my least favorite character
He was
through
my favorite.
of the main 3. I felt like
Oh, I loved him.
Yeah,
like
he was my favorite.
he came off too gruff in the beginning, and then he came off too soft in the last half, and I was like, "Ugh, this guy." I felt like Kinsey was doing the heavy lifting, and like she was the primary character who was pushing things forward. So I liked it. I wouldn't say it was the best thing on Netflix, but I did enjoy it for what it was, and I thought they had a lot of really cool devices. I like the keys. I wish we could have got to see more keys. They teased a lot of keys that didn't really get a lot of play. Maybe just one-off keys, like taking the key, putting in a tree, and then all these jars come up out of the ground. It's like,
Which, that's something they haven't paid off yet either. I was really hoping they were going to restore Uncle Duncan's memories. But that's probably going to be, again, if they do a season 2, it'll come there.
Well, don't they explain why? Like, I thought in the third or second to last episode, they explained why they won't give him back his memories.
They just explained
some
why
of
they
them were
took them
such
away.
awful memories. But like the kids have this like look of realization on their face of like, oh, yeah, that's a good point. Why he shouldn't have these, because they're so awful.
I don't know.
Like one of them shows Randall killing somebody.
Yeah,
And like
to me, they were
how
trying
would he
to
ever
cover it up.
process that?
They were trying to cover it up, was what I was looking at. That's kind of what I saw from it, and you can tell Duncan's like trying to remember when he holds one of the jars. He sees something, but he can't remember it. Clearly, to me, they took his memories, and that's where they hit him, was in that tree or whatever. I was hoping they were going to restore his memories with the head key or something. I didn't know if maybe they'd put it in the back of his neck and just throw all the memories back in the door, or how they did it. Because it looked like they were jars. I was just expecting them to open the jar and then it would like give him his memory back. But I don't know. I thought that was another open thread, and I don't mind an open thread. It leaves me wanting more, but that was something I want to see paid off, hopefully in the future. Because I love Duncan. The actor anyway. Aaron Ashmore. I love that.
You're just full of confessing your love for people tonight, huh?
He's just
I
taking
got
it the
really
wrong way.
excited.
He wasn't in it
Lance
enough.
really excited when I saw
Lance
one
is
of the
just waiting his
Ashmore.
turn. He's like, "Ooh, Max loves all these people. When's it my turn to get some love?"
I really enjoy Aaron Ashmore though. He's I like watching him.
Well, both of them.
I was wanting to see more.
Both the Ashmore twins.
Yeah,
Because Aaron Ashmore wasn't He wasn't Iceman, right? That was his brother,
He was in Smallville.
right?
Yeah, he was in Smallville. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Sean Ashmore was Iceman.
and he was in Quantum Break video game as well.
Didn't he used to do some stuff for the Disney Channel back in the 90s too? Wasn't he like in some like EMT show on Disney Channel and like Animorphs or something like that?
Animorphs.
Oh, Animorphs.
He was actually. I think he was. Yeah. That's what my wife recognized him from immediately. She was like, "Yeah, that's Animorphs guy."
I watched that show. Did you call it an EMT show?
Yeah, well, no. There was another show that was like,
show.
yeah, it was a different show. It was like EMT based, where they were like kids in an EMT class, and then he was also on Animorphs. But
Man, they look alike.
I think overall, yeah, there
I've
you
been
go.
picking all these up. I have almost all of them. I'm going to start reading them with my daughter.
I think
Is that a porn novel?
Animorphs.
What this?
It's just so blurry.
So
yeah, it's really hard to see.
So I say I'm going to read this book with my daughter, and your response is that a porn novel?
It's just so blurry.
I just expect to
Looks
see in
like
our
I
little
know,
chat
guys,
pop
I'm
up
sorry.
and say Lance Pepperoni has joined the chat roulette. That's what it looks like right now. I think all in all, for me, Lock and Key isn't the greatest thing on out, and I think it's a nice appetizer for the next season of Stranger Things and Umbrella Academy that we're gonna get. So
Yeah, I'm excited for Umbrella
sure.
Academy. But Stranger Things and Umbrella Academy are definitely better than Lock and Key. And that's
Yes.
okay. Lock and Key is still fun, and I want to see more.
If Lock and Key, if the way it ended was just a mid-season cliffhanger rather than a season-ending cliffhanger, I think it probably would have felt more satisfying.
I don't know. I don't mind it as a cliffhanger. I don't know. I don't mind
The
that.
biggest thing was just that the end reveal just really bugged me.
Which one?
The Gabe reveal.
That Gabe was the villain all
The
along?
Gabe reveal was pretty good, but it's the one where they end up throwing. Hi.
Hello.
It's the one where they throw the lady into the abyss or whatever.
Well, I saw that.
They just didn't.
That's not the main twist. The main twist is that Gabe was the girl all along.
Yeah.
Gabe was Lucas, Dakota, or Dodge.
Dodge.
Like, yeah. And that's what my wife and I saw coming. Not 100%. We were just like, something's off about that kid. I bet I thought he was more working for Dodge. I was expecting more that he was working for Dodge. I actually was thinking that that he was going to be the kid that had the gun that killed their father. I was thinking that the identity key was going to be used on that kid, and he was infiltrating the group. That's what I originally thought. And then when we saw the kid come with the gun, I was like, oh, so this is Gabe. Sam, thank you. And I was like, who is this guy? You know? So I don't know. I closer it got, I was like, something's off with Gabe. And I also agree with the whole switching Ellie thing. I'm like, that's too inconvenient. Where's the crown? This isn't Dodge, you know. That's what Gabe.
Well, there was a lot of things about that they just executed it poorly. It could have had so much more weight to it if they didn't show the scene where Georgie runs into the house and he just sees Rufus there, and they're like, "Where's your mom?" And then, like, there's just so many things they did beforehand that were just like clear indications that the woman that they just threw in there was not.
I don't think it.
The
I
right
think
woman.
for me, I mean, I can't speak for the rest of you. For me, I knew it the minute she reached back for the older brother when they were trying to throw her through the door.
Yep.
I was like, it's a bait and switch. It's exactly what it is. It's a bait and switch.
I got to tell you that from the moment Gabe shows up on the stairs to the cafeteria, I was like, Gabe is the bad guy. And so I was following that thread through the whole series, and everything I saw, like at the end where they try and connect the dots to show where Gabe should have, all the clues that they gave you that Gabe should have Gabe was the bad guy, right? All the things that should have clued you in that was a bad guy. I was like, yeah, I saw that all along. Like, exactly.
Yeah, I didn't see it quite as good as you. I saw that he was bad, but I didn't expect him to be the bad. The big bad.
See, I think you're going to find out that the bait and switch didn't happen until after the stuff in the cafeteria. Because before that, he had no knowledge of the key. She didn't even know that the rest of the kids knew about the keys. So I think it happened. She bait and switched after that day at the cafeteria. That's where I think the bait and switch takes place.
I feel like Gabe just knew too much about how the music key worked for it to be coincidental.
Yeah.
He says, "Whoa, are you puppeteering Eden with that music box?"
Yeah, I thought that was odd too. I was like, "How did you get that? Why would you think
Why
that's
would
even
that
possible?"
be the thing? Yeah, why is that the thing that you say? And I was like, "He's bad. He's bad news." And every time he was alone with Kinsey, I was like, "Yeah, he's just buttering her up. He's buttering her up."
Poor Scott, man.
Buttering her biscuit.
Love Scott. Yes, I love everybody.
Yeah,
okay?
I did too.
I hated Scott. I thought he was a putt.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
thought
agree.
He was cool.
He was a loser.
His accent just captivated me.
Oh, you're one of those brittle, Anglophiles.
Settle down, Max.
Anyway. Well, is there anything else you guys want to talk about with Lock and Key? Excuse me.
Nah.
No, it's a good show. People should check it out. It's not the greatest thing that Lock and Key has, or that Netflix has ever come out with, but it's a good show. It was enjoyable.
Yeah.
I think that they can improve on some things for next season.
Sure.
But what is let's go ahead and give our ratings on it. Let's start with Matt. Matt, what is your rating of the show?
I think overall it was good, but it's also mildly forgettable. I think there's definitely better stuff on Netflix to watch. If you haven't watched like End of the Effing World or
that was a good one.
Some of this other stuff like we talked about, like Umbrella Academy or Stranger Things, things like that. I think those are definitely things you watch before Lock and Key. Overall, like I said, I thought it was a good appetizer to the next seasons of Umbrella Academy that we're getting and Stranger Things until hold us over till season 4 of Stranger Things. So I'm gonna give it probably about a 3.5 out of 5.
Okay.
Yeah, Sam, what? Oh, go ahead, Max. You can go.
Sure, I'll just go. I was just going to say that I like when you say Stranger Things and Umbrella Academy when talking about Lock and Key, because I think of the Netflix stuff. Those are the two that are closer to it in tone. Because I can't compare The Witcher or Narcos to Lock and Key. They're totally that's for a TV like mature audience, and then you got this is more of a teen audience. So I just think it's interesting that you're using those shows to compare it because those do feel more the same tone. I was going to say 3.5 out of 5, but I think I'm going to go down to 3. I'm retooling my review method, and I'm starting to use like what word would I describe this show as? And a 3.5 to me is like a great show or a great movie, and I think I would say that Lock and Key is good, and that's a 3 for me. So I'm going to do a 3 out of 5.
Okay, I guess that's me. So my main thing with it was that it was a little slow in leading up to the final act. Like I said, it's 10 episodes. Feels like it should have been paced to be 8 episodes. And they did spend a lot of time on the keys that were the most interesting. We just got kind of a taste of the less interesting keys, so I think they did a pretty good job of that. And I had a pretty good time, so I'd say 3 out of 5. It's a pretty good time. It's worth a watch. It may not be worth a second watch, but it is definitely worth a first time. So give it a watch. Enjoy yourself, and just realize it is what it is, and you'll have a good time exploring some concepts that maybe you hadn't seen before. But in the end, yeah, I agree with Matt. It is a little bit more forgettable.
So this show for me is tough because the first half of the series I loved. Like I was totally captivated. I loved the performances and everything like that. I loved the new ideas that they were doing with these keys. So if I only had the first 4 or 5 episodes, I would say this is a 4 out of 5. What ruined it for me was the last 2 or 3 episodes. And I think that brings it all the way down to a 2.5 for me. Just
really
the
wow.
reveals.
Wow, Lance coming in with the harsh critic.
But didn't you give Birds of Prey a 2.5? And you were like crapping on that show.
No, I thought I gave it worse than that.
Maybe you did.
I said 2.5.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I gave it a 1.
Oh, geez.
But it's tough because it's hard because the last 2 or 3 episodes were just done so. The reveals were just handled so poorly, in my opinion, that it kind of ruined my taste for the whole series. I don't know.
It definitely hurts. It definitely hurts.
Yeah, I don't know how excited I would be to see a second season. I just would have tried to keep those reveals a little bit closer to the chest. The one that bothered me the most was the reveal of throwing the wrong person through the door. I just think that they let the cat out of the bag too frequently before that whole thing happened. Like I wish it would have been more of a shocker. Like I wish they would have put her through the thing, right? And then you would have started getting all these clues that it wasn't the right person, instead of giving you all these clues and then throwing her through the thing and then having, a minute or 2 of a big reveal that she was the wrong person. It just, I just don't think it was handled that great.
Well, I think that's the problem with these shows is they don't trust the intelligence of the audience.
Yeah.
They're not like, I think that same thing is that honestly, I think we should have never have seen the setup of who was thrown through the door. They should have let you, they should have let you spec on it until the next season. And I think they got that far and they're like, oh man, they question the intelligence of their audience. So then they feel like, well, we have to spoon feed it to you. And they go and break it all down and reveal it all for you. And you're like, oh, okay. So there's no surprise there. They took the suspense and like you were saying, one of the
Stranger Things did the exact thing to us.
Yeah.
Stranger Things did the exact same thing to us, where we were anticipating like, who's the American, right? The show's probably not coming out till July or October. We don't know which yet. Who's the American? And then the first trailer they reveal for the new season tells you, oh, Hopper's the American.
Yeah, but they handled the death of Hopper so bad.
Totally
But in the season was great. It just what I'm saying is that they kind of ruined what could have been an awesome payoff by the trailer. I understand it's not the same thing, but it just kind of ruins the payoff for me.
Everybody understood who the American was.
Yeah.
No, there was speculation that it could have been the Doctor.
Nah, you knew it was going to be you knew it was going to be Hopper by the way the last season ended.
I know
There was a lot of reports that came out after the show aired, where everybody was trying to figure out who the American was, and it was either between the Doctor or Hopper.
It's like one of those poker hands where they say 95% chance victory, 5% chance fail, right?
But you got to remember, you're also reading articles by people that are getting paid to write an article about this crap.
Yeah,
like
they have to speculate to fill the word count.
Yeah.
I always thought it was Hopper, but I would have just rather have liked to see that reveal in the show and not a trailer 6 months before the movie comes out.
I think that's totally different. That's a totally different scenario there. I don't think that's.
Well, I'm just saying ruining. Obviously, they're done 2 separate ways. What I'm saying is just ruining what is like the anticipation. Like I feel like that's what Locke and Key did, was ruin the anticipation. Stranger Things kind of ruined the anticipation in different methods, but I'm just saying those payoffs should be a little bit more valuable to these studios for the fans. Like I think the payoffs offer us a little bit of anxiety and things like that kind of put you in the moment and make you excited about the next season of the show.
Yeah, see, I think the mistake that they did here, I think the mistake that the showrunners did here with this was they showed the identity key more than one time. they kept bringing it up and bringing it up and bringing it up.
Yeah.
If let's say Christopher Nolan was directing Lock and Key, he would have shown the identity key one time, and then just let you forget about it.
Like the dreidel.
Yeah, so there's still foreshadowing, but it's not like they're smacking you in the face.
He trusts you to remember it, to keep it in your mind, and he doesn't keep banging you over the head with it. Lock and Key, they showed you the identity key in like 4 or 5 different times, and they never discovered it before the final act, right? And so you're like, okay, it's the shape-shifting key is the deal, and so you're able to figure it out long before they reveal it.
Yeah. I think a good example of a speculation is the end of Half-Blood Prince when Snape kills Dumbledore, and you've got people on both sides of the aisle saying Snape's a bad guy, or no, Dumbledore told him to do it, Snape's a good guy. Like that to me was a much better, you're leaving people on the edge of their seat to speculate, and you're not giving the audience everything. And then you even had to wait until the end of the next book to finally find out that Snape was actually doing what Dumbledore wanted him to do. Like, so for me, like, there's a big difference between whether you like Harry Potter or not. I think most people would agree that J.K. Rowling wrote a compelling story and did a good job with that. And I think that that's an example of how you do it. You leave people wanting more, and you leave them speculating, and you don't just spoon feed it to them right then and there. I think that anticipation is a good thing.
Infinity War and Endgame, I think, did that really well. You know, for a while, like, yes, you knew that certain characters were coming back, but there was always kind of this question about how were they going to get these characters back? And they didn't tell you too much at the end of Infinity War. It just kind of ends, right?
Yeah, but
like, I felt like
Endgame doesn't depend on a twist. We're talking about twist endings, right? And how do you set up a twist ending and then give it a solid payoff? And the trick is in how many times and how well you trust your audience to put it together.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I'm putting it more of like getting you excited about something that you don't know the ending to. But yes, we're talking about twists. It's not really a twist. I mean, the twist could be is that you lose all these characters, and it makes you think that everybody's coming back, and then they kill Iron Man.
Yeah.
You know, or Captain America suddenly decides to retire. Those could be considered twists.
I didn't expect that.
What
I expected. Oh, cute little guest.
Sam, so what I was saying is I guess you can consider a twist in Endgame that you think everybody's saved, and then you end up losing Iron Man and Captain America.
Yeah,
so
I guess
that is kind of a twist.
Well, I still feel like everybody going into that movie knew that someone was going to die. And it was
Did you think that both were going to be gone?
I didn't expect half the Avengers to be gone.
No, we always knew that Spider-Man was coming back. There was some sense that we thought maybe Gamora was coming back, and she hasn't really.
She can't.
I don't know. Back. There were twists in that.
She can't come back. She's in the Soul Stone.
Yeah. Anyway, we're getting down
her past.
We're getting down a rabbit hole.
Sorry, we got a little bit. We got a little bit. Let's so overall, it sounds like the average here is about 3 out of 5 for Lock and Key, which I think is deserving of so. I hope the next season's done better. But guys, let's talk real quick, just real briefly
about
there's a couple movies. There's a couple movies coming.
10 out of 10.
There's a couple movies.
11 out of 10.
Oh my gosh, guys! All right, there's a couple movies coming out in the next couple of weeks. What are you guys most excited for coming out here soon?
The Way Back.
11 and a half Dave Bautista's.
The Way Back is the movie I'm most excited about in the next couple of weeks.
What? Isn't there already a movie called The Way Back?
Potentially.
The Way Back.
That's what I'm thinking of. That's a great movie.
My Hero Academia Heroes Rising is hitting theaters next week. That's going to be a fun one.
Even have to ask Sam. I'm looking at the theater here of what's coming up, and I already knew that's what he was going to say.
No one replied to me. I threw it out in our chat if we wanted to talk about it next week. I'm willing to go see it. I'm not
My Hero Academia?
Yeah, there's really nothing else out, so let's talk about it. I know Sam would enjoy it.
Yeah, it'd be fun. It's kind of a Japanese take on American superheroes.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. I think what I'm most excited for, because the trailers got me a little bit excited, and is that Onward movie from Disney Pixar.
Onward looks good. It comes out the same day
Yeah.
as The Way Back, and I'm more interested in The Way Back. But Onward does look good. Looks funny.
I mean, I think The Spy in honor of Dave Bautista and Stuber. I got to go with The Spy.
When does that one come out again?
March 13th.
Okay, yeah. There's something
The
else
same
coming
day
out.
as Bloodshot.
Bloodshot, yeah.
But I think what I'm most excited for coming up here soon is A Quiet Place Part 2.
Oh yeah. See, I guess I didn't realize how far you wanted us to go. Of everything we talked about, A Quiet Place Part 2 is what I'm most excited about. Yeah.
Well, that comes out March 18th. That's just a couple weeks, man.
Oh wow, that is not that far. You're right. Wow. I need to rewatch the first one again.
There's a lot of good stuff coming out. So we're going to have a lot of opportunities to have some good episodes to talk about some things. Is there anything you want to tell our listeners that they should be checking out? Something that you're watching now that maybe people aren't watching that you would like them to check out?
One Piece. Got to read One Piece. Got to watch One Piece. Got to live and breathe One Piece. One Piece is the best ever. It's the best it's ever been. We're smack in the middle of the Wano arc, and it's the best it's ever been. And if you're not reading it, you tell him. You tell him. You tell him.
Matt,
It's
anything?
so
Just Outsider on HBO. If you're not watching Outsider, you need to catch up on that because that's been fantastic. And other than that, I mean, I can't
Really
wait
good.
to see the movie that should win the Academy Award for greatest movie of all time, and no other movie will compare to it when it comes out on May 22nd, and that's Fast 9.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were going to go back with Stuber.
I thought you were
Max?
cover your ears, Matt. Cover your ears.
Why? Oh God!
Star Wars.
Clone Wars season 7, baby. Yeah.
You're not
Oh,
watching that right now, though, right? Is it out?
Episode 1 came out on Friday. The Bad Batch, baby. It was great.
I love your build up to a laugh, Lance. You sound like you're trying to pass a kidney stone.
Oh my gosh. I have so many words for you if there wasn't a child sitting on Sam's lap right now.
I tell you, that is the cutest
I got
person
headphones. She
we've
can't
ever
hear
had.
you.
Cutest person I've ever seen on the show.
So I just finished the documentary, the Aaron Hernandez story that was fascinating. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
Yeah, I've watched
No.
It was really good. And then another one that I'm watching right now, it kind of has like supernatural vibes, is October Faction on Netflix. It's about a pair of like a father mother duo that go and fight supernatural beings, and they also have this like family life with their children. Their children have no idea what they do, and it's really good. It's set in the month of October. So like October is the month where all these like demons and stuff come out. So it's good. It's a good show.
Yeah, but that guy, the guy who plays the dad, like he's so
I don't know about
weird.
him, but
So
I like the
boring.
mother.
The
The
dad
guy
is
who
so
plays
boring.
the dad, the guy that plays the dad reminds me of the dude from Ferris Bueller's, not Matthew Broderick, but the friend. You know what I'm talking
Cameron?
about? Like
Talking about Cameron?
Yeah.
Let my Cameron go.
at first I thought it was that dude. Like they look very similar. But yeah, you're right. That show has a lot of flaws, but there's not much to watch right now, and I've been enjoying that one for what it is. But
Fair enough.
well, that brings us to the end of our episode. I appreciate everybody that stuck around and listened to us, and Matt for coming on last second. He said he was only going to be here for a few minutes and ended up going the long haul with us. So that's a trooper right there.
He's
But,
You get,
proud about it.
you get 5 out of 5 Stubers from me, Matt.
Ooh, 5 out of 5.
So,
That's a 25.
If you have not had the opportunity yet, please check out Absolute Geek every Friday night on YouTube and every Monday on your favorite podcast player. Check out Couch Crunchers right here every Saturday night and Mondays on your podcast player. Next week, it sounds like we'll be talking about My Hero Academia, Heroes Rising. So please tune in for that episode. It's going to be our first foray into the manga topic. So I don't think Max and I have been on an episode where we've talked about manga before. So this is going to be, it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. So, but check us out next week. And until then, keep on geeking on.
Woohoo!
How does one keep on